present.
there.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Windy,
This show.
Adrex, and Birdie
Mm-hmm.
climbing
Yes,
the stairs
sir.
to the third floor of this tower. You're greeted by a somewhat wounded abomination. You see where he's got a slash on one of his arms that he's bound up with cloth. In the back of the room, you see a Malison, who you presume to be Tatsushi, huddling with the pureblood Windy that you saw wrestled out of that cave. And the abomination, as you come up the stairs, interposes himself between you and Tatsushi.
Like, protectively?
Protectively.
And I'll turn to the others and I'll say, how do we explain to him that we dealt with the people downstairs? And I'll put my hands up, like, holding them out.
Okay, where's the key that you used to open the gate downstairs?
I'm holding it. I'll hold it out. If they want it, they can have it.
Adrex, you see, when this abomination sees the key in Windy's hand, he speaks in not terrible common, just heavily accented common. And he says, the Couatl has born you here.
And Wendy will nod. I answered that question wrong last time. I'm not doing it again.
Then the abomination turns and has a brief but curt conversation with the Malison in their own tongue. And then turns back to you. And says that he entrusts Tatsushi into your guard.
Can you help us get him out?
He says he can
He'd
cover
feel more comfortable.
he can cover your escape, but his wound is deep. He tells you once whatever the Couatl has deemed necessary for Tatsushi to do, once this course of action has been executed. And he turns back, and you see there's no love lost between this abomination and Tatsushi. He tells you, can you be trusted to administer his fate?
And I'll kind of keep my face neutral and nod, and I'll say, so what has he done?
And he kind of looks forlornly out one of the arrow loops, looking over the city, and you can hear the rioting and fighting is starting to crescendo. And he says that he fears he has brought devastation to their city. Whatever plan the Couatl has for him shall be seen through, but after that he must answer for his crimes.
Wendy will nod again.
Hmm.
Alright, let's get going.
As Tatsushi steps forward, he's one of the snake-headed Malison, and he has a pureblood daughter. He speaks better common, and as he comes forward, he seems very skeptical of the three of you, and his speech is very measured and guarded. The abomination goes down the stairs first, and Tatsushi says, I presume you lots to be the ones that attacked the laboratory in the cliffs.
Oh, thank God you speak common. Oh. You have no idea what it's like trying to communicate with everybody here. It's nuts!
And so are you.
And Wendy nods. Adrex is doing enough talking for all of us.
And you became aware of the substance they were able to create there.
They?
The hydroloths.
Ah, you mean the goo bags?
Were you not involved then?
What have you come here for?
Well, one of our party took particular offense to the existence of the goo bags.
And we heard you might know how to deal with it.
You see him glance back at his daughter for a moment, then back at you. And you work for this Couatl, as they say. Your
Birdie laughs.
denizens, its minions.
For the moment.
What designs does it have on the rest of this substance? What does it mean to use it for?
And Wendy shakes her head. She says, I didn't ask.
He waves his hand dismissively. He says he's heard a lot about messages and dreams and written in clouds and intercepted prayers and all other such nonsense.
Well, our intention, as far as I understand it, is to counteract this substance and then possibly kill as many people who know how to make it as possible.
He tells you that the two hydroloths are dead, and without their assistance they cannot make more. But they have a large cache down here in the city. He says only he and his servants know where to find it.
Alright, and what's your price?
He asks that you discard this nonsense about working with this Couatl that's probably not even real. Tells you to see him safely out of the city, and his price would be 1 jar of this substance to take with him. So what he's offering is he'll tell you where to find it in the city. He just wants a part of it to go with him.
You do realize how dangerous this stuff is, right? Like, if it gets out and infects one person, that one person infects 2 people, and those 2 people infect 4 people, and those 4...
Why do you want it?
It's bad.
He tells you that he wants it purely for the scientific interest of it. He wasn't done studying this particular substance. He wasn't done finding its limitations. He is overwhelmingly interested in this concept of a poison that is so deadly the Yuan-ti don't have a resistance to it. You're not sure if you believe that or not, because he could just as easily want it to do any number of terrible things with. Adrex, make an insight check.
Alright.
Are you trained in religion?
Have I ever been trained in religion?
I don't know, man. You played a cleric that wasn't, and...
That's 10.
A 10? Okay.
Yeah. Religion. What a silly skill that is. I don't know, man. I don't like the idea of having a jar of this stuff out in the wild.
He tells you that he's not going to tell you where the cache is located, and you'll never find it without his assistance.
So, Birdie raises his hand.
Yes, Birdie?
Like, so what you're saying is you'd rather stay here and die?
He does that. That just, he'll raise his hand a few more times. It'll be fine.
Tells you he has no intention on dying here.
I mean, you do realize we're armed, right?
So you've come to kill me then?
Not particularly. We came to destroy all of this.
We've come to make a deal. How about we get you out of the city, which currently, I remind you, wants to kill you. We get your daughter out of the city, and in return, you help us find this substance.
He tells you there are many in the city that would want to kill him, but there are also many that would want to save him so that they could use this substance for themselves. He asks, he's heard rumors that the matriarch Iha is dead.
How did you hear... What?
There's been fighting in the city. Word travels quickly.
Yes. She's dead.
A raid. The temple has been sacked and is burning.
No.
Probably. It wasn't burning when we left.
He looks back at his daughter and then back at you again. What assurance do I have that you don't seek to take this poison for yourselves, to use it for whatever nefarious purposes you may have in mind?
How about you come with us?
Birdie mumbles under his breath because Red would stab us.
Because we're do-gooders.
If you want to see us get rid of it, you can come with us and see us get rid of it.
He tells you that the procedure for destroying it can be very deadly for people who don't know how to handle these kinds of delicate poisons. He's also been made aware that whoever led the assaults on the laboratory in the hills tried to simply light it on fire.
Adrex gives a sheepish look. Well,
Birdie looks at the woman, like his daughter, and says, "Do you know where this evil poison is?"
She looks. First of all, she recognizes Wendy. Wendy was there when she was dragged away. I forget if she speaks Common or not, actually.
She only speaks Italian.
Yeah, she does not. She only speaks Yuan-ti. So she doesn't know what Birdie is saying and looks back to her father. Tatsushi says, right. Let me put it this way. You say you're keen to make a deal, to negotiate.
Sure.
Some of the matriarchs here at Mustki follow the Red Star. Some of them serve this Couatl, but have done so silently. Given today's nature of events, it seems that those followers are starting to become more brazen. He tells you that he is unaffiliated. Red Star, Couatl, it makes no difference to him. There is knowledge to be had either way. He would side whichever god best serves his purposes, which is the pursuit of knowledge. The destruction of this substance, which has been known to them for years to be an impossible thing, is abhorrent to him as a man of science. Who knows if the world will ever see its like again. Though it could be dangerous, we owe it to ourselves to understand it. Fire is dangerous, but we still dig fire pits.
Fire doesn't stab you and turn you into more... Well, actually, that's not true. It does turn you into more fire.
He tells you of one of the taskmasters they have in the fighting pits breathes fire from his maw, and that he's never seen him lose an argument. Nobody has stood in front of him, taken the gout of his flame, and then walked through the other side safely. That something as dangerous, in his opinion at least, is not a reason to destroy it without understanding it.
Well, I have a potential deal that might work, if anybody wants to hear it.
Go ahead, Birdie.
We promise that the three of us will offer you no harm and take you down there to this stuff if you show us how to destroy it, and you can walk away when we all get out safely with your jar.
Birdie, make an insight check.
But what if you lose the jar? What if someone steals it from you?
Insight. That is a 11.
11, okay. He describes partially what would have to be done to destroy this substance, and it immediately becomes apparent, like, this is not something you're going to be able to do on your own. This is outside of the purview of, like, building and disarming traps, or even outside of your magical research, outside of your arcana knowledge. He tells you if he can get him and his daughter clear of the fighting, he will first lead you to the cache. And yeah, that's perfectly agreeable to him. Give him a jar of this stuff. He will take it to safety outside of the city walls. He has ways of ensuring that whoever holds Mooski at the end of the day, whether it be the Red Star or the Couatl, he has ways of making sure that they cannot snare him again.
All right. We'll let you take a jar, but on the condition that we have written instructions on how to destroy this thing, just in case we come across it in the wild a second time.
He tells you that there is a pureblood in your number. This is the reports that he got from the survivors from the lab.
Yes, you're very well educated. Go on.
He tells you that this person would have the skills required to destroy this substance safely. He's curious, though, whether this man that travels with you is pureblood. He's still alive, correct? Though he's not with you here today?
Yes.
Last I checked.
Why don't you tell us?
He asks if you know whether he serves the Red Star or not. Why do you trust this man, in other words?
Well, I trust him because I've lived with him for 3 years now? 3.5 years? You kind of get to know a guy when you live with them for that long.
I mean, you guys
long we've been adventuring.
Didn't expect me to write the Metal Gear adventure and not have an NPC that invents the weapons of mass destruction without any conception of what he's done or why it was wrong.
This, like I said, the three of us are not going to hurt this guy. I promised.
He says, as long as you're agreeable to his terms and you're willing to let him have a jar of this substance, he will lead you to the cache that he knows to be in the city.
Well, let us go find our companions first.
Are you going to leave them here in the tower while you do that?
No, I mean, like, we've got to take him. He's got to take us to the thing so he can get his jar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go find our companions on the way.
Okay.
I don't know.
As you guys come back down the stairs of the tower, Tetsushi and his daughter very tentatively following you. The abomination you met upstairs still stands in the doorway. And which way are you guys going to exit the tower? Through the door or through the well?
Through the door.
Okay.
Do we have some... Has he given us any indication where this stuff is?
Well, we were going to go find Red first, right?
I know, but we also need to know where it is in case he takes a stray arrow.
That's just going to risk you're going to have to take, because he's not going to tell you.
Okay.
He doesn't want to run the risk of telling you and then you putting an arrow in him. You've put an arrow in lots and lots of snake people. I don't think that this is unwarranted on his behalf.
Listen, I very specifically promised that the three of us would not hurt this man.
The abomination says that on your order, he's going to go out and create more chaos because of his standing in Yuan-ti society. Whichever direction you need to go from the tower, he will clear the path. But the ruse is not going to last very long. He expects he'll be cut down during this process. So he's essentially asking you, where do you need to go from here?
Well, that just sounds like a waste.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we heal you? You come with us through the river, and then if you have such a respect amongst the populace here, you can help us make this slave rebellion end in our favor. We can save as many slaves as possible.
Without him creating a distraction for you, you guys won't make it clear of the tower. Is the implication. You're not going to be able to sneak away from the tower in this state. You need him to create this distraction for you.
Oh, it's a distraction. Hold on. I have an idea. I'm going to jump into the well and swim. I'm going to tell them what I'm doing, but I'm going to jump into the well, swim outside, and then make an illusion to distract. Think that could work?
Okay, where are you doing this?
Just jump into the well and swim back out the way I came in. Since that's worked well for me so far.
Okay. What are you doing? Minor illusion?
Yeah, minor illusion. And then I'm going to... where do you think the best way to put this would be, you guys? Like, is this the entrance or is this the entrance?
This is the entrance here.
Okay, so...
The door over the water.
So, is this a staircase right here up to the wall?
Yes. But you don't know the state that it's in right now because you're inside this tower and can't see it.
Uh-huh.
So, Birdie, what are you doing?
Like, if I get so, before I jump in there, do you want me to try and make the distraction so we can bring this guy with us, or do you want him to heroically, like, go away?
Well, it just seems like a waste of our resources. If he's saying he's so good at with these slaves, if they'll listen to him, we're not.
Oh. So, like, Birdie's going to ask this guy, what were you planning on doing out there?
He's going to go out and give conflicting orders to the Yuan-ti that are out trying to fight back the slave revolt in the hopes to draw eyes away from the tower as you guys make clear of it.
What orders were... I'm going to ask him what orders he was going to give.
I mean, there's not...
No, I mean, like, the specific words.
I don't know, man.
Like, I mean, just, like, you don't have to tell
he's
me.
He's your way out of the tower, is what I'm telling you. Why is this so complicated? You don't need...
Because we don't want to have him die heroically. You picked the wrong 3 people to be in this area.
I'm going back to the other 2.
Die heroically.
Because now I have to write this new story on this side of the board because you assholes won't play along.
You picked the wrong 3 people.
Be quiet. It's not your turn anymore.
Wow.
Red and Raazu.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
You guys are coming into the slave pens to find the 2 taskmasters that were taken.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was taken because he started the whole riot. That would be the Goliath Nuclew, the one that Raazu had a flirtatious encounter with last session.
Yep.
And the other one was Arcadios, the Bearman, who saw his opportunity to break free from slavery and decided to take it. They were both dragged into the slave pens.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into this first room, there's nobody in this first room. Nobody's standing guard. You see a couple of discarded weapons on the floor. These doors are broken inward. Mm-hmm. And inside you see Yuan-ti fighting other Yuan-ti, Malisons and Purebloods both. Probably a group of like 10 of them. And it's very difficult to tell what sides they're on because there's no distinguishing markers between them. Tied up in this corner is a small group of 2 or 3 slaves lashed together with ropes. It looked badly bloodied and bruised. Like they were part of the fighting, but they were rounded up and brought in here. It looks like one of these Yuan-ti groups is rounding the slaves and bringing them back to the pens, and the other group has just broken in here for reasons unknown. Right now, nobody's paying any attention to you. You're just standing in this broken doorway looking into the room.
I motion to Raazu to just be quiet and let's slip our way through here for now. See if we can't just duck through in the middle of the fighting.
So you're gonna slip through this room here?
Yeah.
Raazu, you're attempting to do this unnoticed?
If I said yes, would you believe me?
I would. I mean, I don't have any reason for you to doubt you.
Yeah, but here's the problem, is I'm going to roll the stealth check, and it's going to be a butt, and I'm out of stealth points.
Oh. Is that the problem?
Yeah.
It's fine.
So
It's the end of the
answer to your
campaign.
question is yes.
What'd you roll?
I haven't rolled yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting for that butt. That's a butt right there.
Got a 22 on stealth.
That is a 5.
So, Red, you and Raazu slip through this second door. Looking into this room, you see the fighting pit dug into the floor. There are groups of bound slaves surrounding the pits, all different races. Standing guard over the pits are several armed Malisons on each side. It looks like they're patrolling back and forth. This door here is also open when you come in, as a third Malison is leading another group of bound slaves into the pit. These are slaves who have had the fight essentially beaten out of them. Inside the pit, badly wounded, you see the bound up Bear Man and the Goliath. The Goliath is sitting with his back against the wall, and his face is beaten to a bloody pulp, but he's grinning, and when he sees Raazu in the doorway, he gives her a little smoochy face, and then starts laughing to himself. Raazu, someone shouts at you as you sneak through this room, and many of the Yuan-ti faces turn towards you.
Is there anyone else in the pit other than those two?
Only those two are in the actual pit. There's 3 Malisons, one here, one here, and one coming through this door. What's the plan when you guys enter into this fighting pit?
I was hoping there'd be one of the other taskmasters here to, but since not, I think we just have to jump the nearest Malison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll some initiative.
Okay, someone link together these 2 dice that are broken and doing some dumb shit. Like, look at this.
Wow, roll the 19.
So, okay, whoever did this is a criminal and needs to be
What have you
prosecuted.
done?
Look at this. Look at this. These fucking dice.
Do we need to reinstitute dice
you.
jail?
Yeah, I'm thinking we do. Alright, so I rolled a 2 on initiative, as is my idiom.
Okay.
Dice copier.
Raazu,
Hey,
make a... What are you doing as you realize that the Yuan-ti in the room have noticed you? Some number of them... I mean, some of them are already hostile towards you because they're on the other side of this fight. And the ones that aren't on the other side of the fight still don't really have a reason to not be hostile towards you at this moment.
Raazu calls out to Red, says, "Well, looks like the sneaking's out." And Raazu goes to put her back to Red.
So you put your back to Red and
fight.
face the room, like hold the door?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a dexterity saving throw. This is going to just model whether or not you take any damage from this mob in this room for now.
Ooh, look at that. I'm gonna use 2 blips and re-roll that.
Okay. Is that a 2?
That is a 3, sir. That is a 2. That is a modified 2, yes.
The fighting in this room is very cramped, very chaotic. 13 points of slashing and piercing damage as the fight kind of descends towards you. Some number are attacking you, and some number are attacking your attackers. The door that Red has just sneaked through can be closed from his side.
Mm-hmm. And I will do so once the opportunity presents itself.
Okay, that's going to bring us to the 3 Malisons in the room. And Red, I'm sorry, what was your hide check coming into the room?
21. Or 22.
Okay. The 2 Malisons patrolling around the pit are preoccupied keeping their eye on the slaves. They haven't noticed you've come in, but it's only going to be a number of seconds because of the noise coming from the room where Raazu's taking attacks. This Malison here, bringing the slaves in the door, has noticed you come in, but hasn't had chance yet to raise the alarm.
Okay. Is there a chance for me to get close enough to one of these guys to stab him without noticing that I'm hostile?
Possibly, but it's not your turn yet.
Oh, sorry.
Right now it's Malison's turn. Just they were surprised.
Yeah.
That's going to bring us to the 2 men in the pit are both surprised, and now it's Red's turn. Yes, there's a Malison only about 10 feet away from you. He's circling towards you on this side of the pit. You could get to him.
And I can Can I sneak attack him with the stealth since he wouldn't see me coming? Like, can I duck between the slaves and just jump out at him?
He's no longer surprised now because he's had his turn
Okay.
before you. So.
Well, she's going to take care of that door, so let's move up to him. Let's pull out an ivory hilt stiletto, and let's get to some stabbing. That'll hit an armor class of 21.
21 does hit.
And I'm going to need a con save.
Is it against magic or a spell?
18.
It's a DC 15. I think it's half on a save. I don't actually have that written down. Give me a second here. Double check. So the stiletto deals 8 damage.
Okay.
And then let me see if this is half on a save. There we go. Come on. Sorry, I don't know. I just didn't write down on my character sheet whether it's half on a save. There we go.
You're getting it with the Sickening Radiance?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it is half on save.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because it has the exhaustion effects.
Yep. Can I use my blips to make him re-roll a saving throw?
Sure.
Yeah, let's spend 2 blips.
Excuse me. A 9.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yep is in nope, that doesn't save.
Okay.
So 46 radiant exhaustion, and he sheds a putrid green light.
And he does begin to shed a putrid green light.
And he'll also take 13 radiant damage.
Okay.
Just go ahead and bonus action, pull out another knife, and stab him again. The whole armor class of 22
That'll hit.
for another 3 damage.
Okay. Moving or staying put?
That's the end of my turn. I'll move to the other side of him so that Raazu could get in on the side closest to the door.
Okay. Raazu, it's not going to cost an action to close this door. It would cost you an action to bar it so it can't be opened from the other side. You're not certain how useful that would be anyway because there is a second door into this chamber.
Yeah, Roz is just gonna push through, slam the door shut, and then she will close to beat up on the guy that Red is beating up on.
Okay.
It's a 13 to hit.
13 will hit.
Alright. Put some D8s on that. Put some Paladin stank on it. I need 4 of them. This is with the trident and a big old thunderous boom.
Okay.
That is 8 piercing damage, 9 thunder damage.
So 8 piercing and 9 thunder?
Yep.
Okay. And he is bloodied. And the room fills with the sound of this thundering boom. And that definitely captures the attention of the 2 men down in the pit. Moving or staying put?
Staying put.
Okay. Oh, I need to roll 1 more initiative. Which means I need 1 more color. We'll go with pink. And that's +2. There we go. Okay. Raazu.
Yay.
Roll me some percentile die.
Okay. 1 on the left is 10s. 36.
36.
Yep. Sorry, I didn't roll the right number, Berkrode.
Raazu,
Hey,
I have a 16 to hit
that's not going to hit.
and an 8 to hit.
Nope.
As this door opens up and one of the purebloods comes through with a dagger, lunges for you a couple of times. And you throw the blows aside. And no sooner that you do, you see a scimitar pierce through part of his side as one of the Malisons behind him cuts him down. The Malison's also looking at you pretty menacingly. He's not sure which side of this fight you're on either.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Malisons, I've got 2 back here with longbows, and the one right on top of red. Wow, red.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 20 and a 21.
Yeah, those both hit.
4 slashing damage from the first hit.
Mm-hmm.
9 slashing damage from the second hit.
Let's uncanny that second one.
Okay. How does a 10 and a 10 do, Red?
Nope.
Raazu,
Hey,
I have an 11 and an 11.
not going to do it.
As the Malisons on this side of the room launch arrows in your direction, but they all go wide. Raazu,
Yo.
there's motion underneath you as you see this bear man lumbering in your direction. His arms are chained behind his back in manacles. And you see he's just wearing a pair of breeches. His tunic has been torn. And one of his eyes is swollen and bleeding, kind of bulged shut. He's nudging towards where you're standing at the edge of the pit. And as he does so, you see Nuklu, the Goliath, pick up to his feet and just throw his shoulder into him, tackle him to the side. The Goliath is also manacled behind his back, so this is probably an interesting fight to watch. That brings us back to Red.
And you said they have manacles restraining them?
Yeah, both of the taskmasters in the pit have manacles latching their arms behind their back.
Alright, let's start this off. Flip my stiletto back into my belt, pull out my rapier, and stab this guy. That'll hit an armor class of 18.
Yes, that's good.
Okay. For a total of 26 damage.
And that's enough. When you put your rapier through him, and his body slumps down into the pit when you wrench it free.
Let's drop down into the pit. How long would it take me to lockpick one of these manacles open?
It would probably be impossible if the two of them are wrestling. You'd need one. You need one of them to hold still, and that does not look to happen. In fact, as this Malison falls into the pit, you see the Goliath and the bear man both eyeballing the scimitar that falls in with him.
And we were told both of these guys were on the slave side?
The bear man is.
Mm-hmm.
Nuklu started the fight because Raazu browbeat him into doing so.
Yeah. Okay, the bear man. Okay, never mind then. Yeah, let's drop down, move behind the Goliath, and I've still got a bonus action stab. That'll hit an armor class of 25.
That'll hit an unarmed and restrained Goliath.
For 2 damage.
For 2 damage.
And if I can, I'll kick the scimitar away from him as I move, but if not, that's fine.
Yeah, you can do that. You could also just interpose yourself between the two of you. So he'd have to
I'll kick it over towards the bear man if that's possible. That'll be the end of my turn.
Well, he's on top of the bear man. He's kind of
okay.
Tackled him. He's body checked him into a wall, essentially.
Okay.
At this point, this door bursts open again. And entering the room, I don't know if either of you had seen... I think Windy's the one that heard him in his room, and then Birdie peered at him, the general, who was in this building down here. Wearing metal armor. One of the Malisons. He has the snake tail torso. coming into the room seemingly to investigate this loud thunderclap he just heard, and sees the chaos in the room. Red, you hear him say something by way of order to the Malison that was bringing in these slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And they begin having an argument. Essentially, it's very accusatory. Like, why do you not have things under control here?
Mm-hmm.
Raazu, you're up.
Okay, it's going to take me quite a ways to get around to the other side, and I'm guessing I'll be provoking attacks of opportunity from Yuan-ti along the way.
No, because there's nobody between you and the other side down here. There was one
See, I
Treble
was-
that tried to stab you, but he got killed.
Yeah. All right, so there's just the Malison and the General that are off in this direction, right?
There's two Malisons down here. One here that was shooting you, one that was here by the doorway who the General's now angry at, and the one that Red just killed and kicked into the pit.
Okay.
There are slaves tied up next to the wall along the way, but I doubt any of them are going to kick you.
Okay. Well, I mean, there is that one scene in Metal Gear Solid 2, right? Raazu drops down into the pit and goes to pull Nuclew off of the Bearman.
Okay. So you're going to grab him and pull him off?
Yeah.
Make a grapple check. So strength and athletics, which he will oppose with his strength athletics at disadvantage because he's restrained. So I get to throw away
got a
that
20.
I also got a 20, but I got to throw it away. So it turns into an 11.
Okay, yeah. So no, Raazu grabs him, says to him,
Riddle. Oh, go ahead.
and Raazu says to him, "Remember who your enemy actually is." Raazu nods to the Malisons and the General at the opposite end.
And
Of
Red will
the
shoot
pit.
Raazu a look like, am I supposed to stab this person now? Are you holding his rib cage exposed for him?
No.
That's just a look. But you should know that look
Shakes
at
her
this
head.
point.
Raazu shakes her head.
You hear the bowstrings as the Malison over here is aiming to fire at each of you. The General orders him to stand himself down. And there does seem to be some confusion in the room, where this bowman turns back, says they were sent here by some matriarch or another to hold as many slaves under guard as possible. And, Red, you get the sense that the General is coming here to belay those orders.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a sense of confusion. There's a lot of tension in the air. Like, either these guys might obey this order and stand down, or they might turn on this General immediately. You're not sure what's about to happen. But nothing happens on the Malison's turn. Yeah, the Goliath is going to try to break free from Raazu. 19. That was at disadvantage. You've got to beat a 19 with your strength athletics.
26.
26, no problem. He struggles against your grip, but you give him a hug like he's never had in his life. The Bearman, who's the more heavily wounded of the two, slumps down to the ground and starts to breathe more raggedly.
Mm-hmm.
And Red, that brings us to your turn.
Can I get down there and use thieves' tools to pop these manticles off of them?
To the Bearman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say you can make that attempt. Dex Thieves Tools.
Oh, that's good.
That'll come out to 28.
Okay, you pop the manacles and they fall to the ground, and he begins rubbing his wrists. And when he speaks to you in this just low, growly common, and he tells you that he knows not who you are, but that he owes you his life. And then he casts his gaze towards the scimitar. He says he doesn't have the strength to stand, but he wants you to hand it to him.
Yeah, I'll hand it to him.
Okay, well, you'll do so on your next turn.
I saw a bonus action.
You can do it as a bonus action?
No, we're good.
Reach back and flourish the scimitar?
Hey, Brick.
What?
Mind if I make this situation a little more chaotic?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, right about as you're like having this conversation, Red, you hear the horn start blowing from the southwest.
The general does not hear the horn.
No, just Red.
And at this point, the general has brandished his own scimitar and is slithering towards one of these Malisons. One of them laid down his arms, the other one has not. He's standing defiantly. The general casts a glance down into the pit and sees Red there breaking this lock. And he gives you this look. He doesn't know you, doesn't know who you are. He doesn't say anything, though. He turns his attention back to this Malison and moves forward to cut him down. And he does so with 2 quick slashes.
Do I get anything off of that with my 21 passive insight?
It's tough to say.
Okay.
He might have cut this guy down just because he was being defiant. He might have some kind of agenda. You do remember Wendy, excuse me, Wendy saying something about hearing a conversation she couldn't understand, but somebody wasn't happy about orders he was being given.
Okay.
And Raazu, what do you do with this Goliath?
Tell him if you behave yourself and remember who your enemies are, then maybe we'll all be alive at the end of the day here.
At this point, you see the Goliath is looking up out of the pit, still with this grin on his face, watching the general's motions.
Is he? Whose side is he on?
So you're not taking any action?
Not right now, no.
Okay.
Whose side is he on? Raazu asks him.
He does not answer. The bear man grips the scimitar as Red slides it over to him. Takes it in his hand, and you see the bear man looking up to the general too, very skeptically, holding this weapon. He's probably not able to move very well. He could stand with some difficulty, but you get the sense that even in this position in this pit, he might be able to hold his own with the strength in his arms. Red, one last action.
I'm going to say to Raazu, that's the horn. We got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And make my way up to this door.
As you move to the door, you hear the general call out after you. Because you've got to climb up out of the pit first.
Yeah.
As you're hoisting yourself up out of the pit, you hear the general call out after you. And he simply says, "Not so fast. Hold there a moment."
In what language?
In Yuan-ti.
I'll move to the door, but I won't open it.
Okay. Raazu, there's a thud next to you as he throws this dead Malison he just cut down into the pit a few feet away from you. Red, you hear him call down to Raazu, speaking in Yuan-ti. And when he sees that Raazu doesn't understand, he switches over to pretty decent Goblinoid.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw that one on the ground, chest first. Put your foot on his back. And he makes motions to slither down into the pit. The Goliath continues to grin defiantly.
What's your plan? Are you going to kill him? Responds in Goblinoid.
He tells you that this man incited a slave revolt. And you do see him brandishing the scimitar. He tells you his life is forfeit.
Raazu shakes her head. I don't think so. Couldn't very well let him go to death at doing something that I ordered him to do.
Red, what do you do when you see this situation? This is very quickly going to come to blows in the pit.
Yeah, that's already an action to shoot the general as soon as Raazu's next to him.
Raazu
I go for my bow.
Raazu puts herself in between the Goliath and the general, and takes out her own whip.
Curse that I didn't undo the manacles on the Goliath at this point.
He sees you brandishing a whip, and you see his face go very sour. And he tells you, "Come now. You would not do me that dishonor. To fight me as though I were a slave.
No less than you deserve. I mean, you've been treating people like this for the Osprey knows how long. It's time you got your comeuppance, I'd say.
And he brandishes the scimitar and moves towards you. You three back at the tower. Whatever weird plan you had worked, and the abomination doesn't die, and he gets a flower shop and has many beautiful daughters, and you all get to feel super good about it until the end of your days. And then Windy blows the horn.
So, did we hear that thunderclap coming from the center room there?
Yeah, you can hear it from pretty far. I mean, it sounds pretty far off.
So,
it's
I
definitely
hear
getting real.
The thunderclap from, like, pretty far off, but, like, probably around in this area.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, well, clearly they're not where they said they were going to be. So I blow the horn, and we wait there for a bit, but no one comes running.
Mm-hmm. Not
So
in the next minute or so.
I think we need to burst our way east, which means we just need to get across this field.
Like, aren't we across the field, though? Because whatever stupid plan we
your
had...
plan worked. Whatever thing you were going to do worked.
Alright, great. Our stupid plan worked.
That was an incredible...
Yeah. Bricker definitely wasn't salty about it. And we open up this door.
I love you.
Whatever. I'll go with it. I don't care.
Tatsushi tells you that he thinks your horn is broken.
It's a magic horn. It makes it so people live. It's really complicated. Trust me, it worked fine.
Are you making any effort to... I guess you could be moving stealthily if you're coming straight across the fields.
No, we're not. That ship has sailed because apparently some shit's gone real bad in the center of the area.
Okay. Who's taking point?
I don't know, I think Adrex, because I want to stand next to Tatsushi so that if an arrow comes winging at him, I can catch it.
Okay.
Alright.
So Birdie's coming up the rear then?
Yeah.
Okay,
fine.
Windy, make an insight check. At disadvantage because you can't see him.
Oh no.
Should blow your cape at him.
It's just rude. That's a 16.
A 16?
Yeah.
You sense... At this point, Tatsushi has not told you where this cache is going to be located. You guys heard some kind of sound and you're going to investigate it. That's all he knows. As you move in the direction of the fighting pits, though, you become aware that he's... Like something's gnawing at his nerves. As you come in this direction. You start to get the inkling that maybe the cache is hidden in the fighting pits somewhere.
Well, that's just comedian.
Getting into this room, this door is open. There's a couple of dead slaves on the ground against the wall here that have been killed in the fighting. And yeah, let's just go ahead and roll everybody's initiative.
Do I still have my ready to action?
We're
already on the initiative. Yeah, so it's only those three, right?
No, everybody roll fresh.
Okay.
Because I got to flush a whole bunch of these guys anyway. This way I get to
Fine with me.
organize all my notes.
Flush them all in the toilet.
This is the first time I've gotten to do this, actually.
That's just rude.
Do you actually have 30, or is it higher than 30?
No, it's 30. I rolled a 20 and I got plus 10. But this is the first time I've rolled a 20 on initiative since my...
Nobody likes to show off, Birdie.
Yeah, I do.
I do.
I don't.
Hey, Brett, could you real quick put a token on the initiative order for the guy who's with us and totally safe and fine?
What do you expect them to do?
I don't know.
Yeah, here you go.
Assist.
Live.
Birdie,
He's definitely not going to catch an arrow.
You're coming in last. You don't really know what the situation is, As you're coming in, you've been paying attention to the fighting to make sure nobody's followed you in. As you enter this room, you're not aware a fight is about to happen, but you are very alert at the moment.
Yeah.
Right now, Wendy is standing at this doorway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Adrex is standing at this doorway. Wendy, Tatsushi, and the daughter are in the room.
And I just turn to Adrex and I say, I never thought that plan would work, Adrex, but I gotta hand it to you. That was incredible. Good work.
Thanks for the follow-through, buddy.
All right, let's open the door and let's go through.
It's Birdie's turn.
Oh, sorry about that, Birdie.
I'll
You
open the
rolled a
door.
30 on your disgusting initiative.
I never would have thought bananas would
Birdie,
have
it's
worked
your
like
turn.
that.
Everybody else needs to be quiet while Birdie takes his turn.
I'm going to open the door and peer inside.
Okay. Looking inside, you see the general that you saw when you peered into the his room earlier is in the fighting pit, squaring off with Raazu. Behind them on the ground is this Goliath that's still manacled. Off to their left, so on this side of the fighting pit, you see this bear man who's kind of slouched down against the wall, but he's holding this scimitar. And he can probably defend his own radius. On the other side of the room, you see Red about to make a run for it.
Well, I'll just step into the room and shoot the general that's squaring up on Raazu in the back.
In the back?
In the back?
No honor among thieves.
Is he close enough to Raazu for pack tactics?
I'm going to say no because they were advancing. He was advancing on her when we shifted gears.
Look at that 20 that doesn't get a sneak attack. Alright, so that is 16 magical piercing to the back.
And he
Listen to this
cries
guy
out in
bragging
pain
about all
and
his
cranes
twenties.
his neck back.
And I wave.
Raazu, anger flashes on his face when he turns back to look towards you. Moving or staying put, Birdie?
I'm just going to step into the room a little more, but that's it.
Okay, it's going to bring us to Red, way down here on initiative 15.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull out my own bow and ready in action to shoot the general as soon as he's in melee with Raazu.
Okay. And Wendy, you're up.
I'm gonna head into the room. And, like, basically, I think the way Wendy has to deal with the situation is turn towards Birdie. Birdie's looking this way, so then I'll jump into the pit to see what the hell he's actually looking at.
Okay.
See the general here, and I'm gonna bill my cloak and then kick him in the head.
Okay.
In the back of the head.
In the back of the head.
Yeah.
No, and in his glaring face looking up at Birdie. He was not expecting this one. That is a 25 to hit and a 24.
Both hit.
4. Let's get out these fancy new D8s.
Excuse me.
Not like there's already 30 of them on the table.
I'm sorry, these are my fancy new D8s? That is 16 magical bludgeoning.
Okay.
And I'll just kick off his face and land on the floor next to him, crouched. You were supposed to come, Red!
Moving or staying put?
Staying put.
Okay. The general sees that he's beset on all sides. And he turns towards Red, who's standing in the doorway with his arrow, his bow drawn. The general says in Yuan-ti, I see. Assassins of the Red Star. Then I die for on my feet fighting, as he spins around with his scimitar, hacking at Wendy and Raazu.
Oh god, Red, he said Red Star. Is he working for the Red Star?
Does he have reach, or is he doing that? Does he have to get closer to Raazu?
Oh, right, he wasn't standing within 5 feet of Raazu. So yeah, he'll just hit
Yeah.
Wendy 3 times.
Oh, okay.
He can do his damnedest.
Wendy, I've got a 15,
No.
and 18,
No.
and a 19.
No.
This is where Wendy loses more eyes.
He has... Red, I mean, you've watching this guy, the fact that he's still standing after taking arrows, like, directly to the back, and Lord knows what he saw in the actual fighting on his way here. But his hacks with his scimitar are just very slow and cumbersome, and Windy has no problem dodging out of the way.
Alright, he rolled a 19, Brick Road.
Yeah.
Slow your roll a little bit on the they're easy to avoid slashes.
Are you done interrupting me? Can I go back to my game now?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nodal. I'm glad that I have your permission to continue running my game. Adrex, you're up.
All right. Each of these spaces is 10 feet, right?
It's roughly 20 feet per space.
Roughly 20 feet.
Yeah, this is a relatively large ravine.
All right, then Adrex has to dash to get in here.
Okay.
Looks at the fighting pit. Looks excitedly at Birdie and says, "Do I get to fight in the fighting pit?" And that's the extent of it.
That's it?
Yeah.
So you guys have taken your eyes off Tetsushi and his daughter, who are still in this room.
Yeah, I guess so. Adrex can't see into that room.